Welcome back to the deep dive. So, you've handed us this stack of sources, and it really paints a picture, doesn't it? A chaotic but kind of fascinating snapshot of the U.S. right now.
He really does. A lot going on.
Yeah, and we're not just going to, read the news. We want to dig into what feels like three different things crashing together: political deadlock, some pretty wild tech fraud, and this feeling of like institutions under strain.
Right. High-speed collision.
Exactly. So our mission here is to pull out those underlying tensions, maybe find some aha moments for you hidden in all this data.
And it is a high-friction environment, like you said. I mean, look at the immediate headlines. The contrast is just stark.
How so?
Well, you've got the unveiling of these statues, right? Rosa Parks and Helen Keller at the Alabama Capitol. That's, a symbol of institutional progress, acknowledging history.
Okay, yeah. Important symbolism.
But then, bam, right alongside that, you get this immediate disruption, technological fragility.
You mean the Alaska Airlines thing?
Yeah. Exactly. The ground stop. An IT outage affecting operations for them and Horizon Air.
Right, I saw that. It got lifted, but still.
But it just shows how fragile everything is, doesn't it? Our whole infrastructure, flights, finance, you name it, it all hangs on tech that can just glitch.
And when those everyday systems wobble, it just makes the bigger political stuff feel even worse.
And that fragility, it connects directly to this rigidity in foreign policy, too, like the sudden end to the trade talks with Canada.
Okay, yeah. Help us connect those dots. Why did the talks end? It wasn't like a normal policy fight this time, was it?
No, not really a substantive dispute. It was, well, it seems more personal, or maybe policy projected personally.
Mm-hmm.
The trigger was apparently an advert Canada ran. It used a clip of Ronald Reagan speaking out against tariffs.
Reagan, wow.
Yeah. And the claim was that Canada was trying to interfere with an upcoming Supreme Court case about these reciprocal tariffs.
So an old soundbite derails current trade talks.
Seems like it. It's pretty fascinating, right? How quickly these big international relationships can get thrown off track by perceived slights, by history used as a weapon.
That dynamic, you mentioned rigid institutions at home, plus this very personalized, rigid foreign policy.
Yeah, that feels like a defining tension right now.
Well, let's definitely unpack that institutional rigidity here at home, because the government shutdown, it's day 23. It's really set in.
23 days. Yeah, it's deep.
So forget the political spin for a second. What are the sources telling us about the immediate costs, the real impact?
Oh, the human and logistical costs they're profound. You've got critical federal workers, think air traffic controllers, TSA officers.
Yeah, essential people.
Essential people working without pay. And the White House is openly saying this is raising serious concerns: flight delays, operational integrity.
Makes sense if those folks are stressed financially.
The whole system's risk profile just shoots up dramatically.
And it's hitting vulnerable people hard, too. The sources mentioned military families.
Yeah, more military families turning to food banks. That's a really worrying sign.
Wow. And SNAP recipients, too. Food stamps.
Intense pressure there. They're being told, stock up now on shelf-stable food, find a food bank, because the funding deadline is right around the corner.
That's not political theater anymore. That's food security. Right now.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the political gears are just completely jammed.
How so?
Well, we saw the Senate couldn't even pass a GOP bill just to pay some federal workers during the shutdown. Just basic relief.
They couldn't pass that?
Nope. Failed to advance. And you hear senators just openly frustrated saying there's zero momentum.
So it's not even a negotiation tactic at this point. It's just stuck.
It feels like a symptom of a system that's become structurally rigid. Frozen.
That freezing up. We're seeing it manifest in some really strange ways, even physically. Let's talk about the White House itself. The East Wing.
Yeah.
They really tore it down.
It certainly looks that way. Demolition crews finished taking down the structure. For a new ballroom, apparently?
Ballroom.
Yeah. And satellite images seem to confirm it. The East Wing, the East Terrace, the colonnade connecting them, mostly gone.
That's a huge change to such an iconic building.
Massive physical alteration.
And didn't sources also reveal who's paying for it? The donors?
Yes, that list came out. And at the same time, a preservation group is asking the administration to, pause the project.
So you've got this jarring picture. Government policy is frozen solid, but they're moving at demolition speed to physically change the White House.
While security threats continue, like that car crashing into the gate while Trump was inside, man arrested immediately, but still.
That contrast is wild.
And the speed of action, that's the key theme here. While the building changes, the executive is also making really rapid moves on the legal and policy front.
Like what?
Well, Trump pardoned Changpeng Zhao, the Binance founder. He's set to meet with Xi next Thursday, October 30th.
Okay, big international moves.
Right. But then domestically, U.S. beef producers are sounding the alarm about a plan to import Argentine beef. They're calling it misguided.
So executive action potentially sidestepping domestic industry concerns.
Seems that way. It highlights how quickly policy can shift, sometimes bypassing established groups.
And what about the legal friction? That seems to be escalating too.
Definitely. We're seeing reports that federal prosecutors are maybe hesitant to charge Adam Schiff, a Trump opponent. That probe has apparently stalled.
Interesting.
But on the other side, top House Democrats just launched an investigation into this huge settlement demand from the DOJ. $230 million.
Whoa. Okay, pause there. $230 million settlement demand from the Justice Department. What's the context there? What does that suggest?
Well, a demand that large is definitely not standard practice. It raises serious questions about whether the DOJ's enforcement power is being used for political leverage or gain.
The weaponization question?
Exactly. It suggests a deepening crisis in how neutral the DOJ is perceived to be. This kind of high-stakes legal fight feels like the new political battleground.
So maybe less debating legislation, more fighting through investigations.
It raises that core question, absolutely. Is political opposition now mainly fought in the legal arena?
Which ties back, in a way, to endurance, like Senator Merkley's marathon speech.
Right. 22 hours and 36 minutes protesting the administration on the Senate floor.
That kind of visible, physical protest, it's such a contrast to the quieter, maybe more systemic pressure of legal probes and these massive settlement demands.
It is. And that contrast actually brings us perfectly to our next big area, where technical sophistication meets a very different world, high-stakes crime.
Okay, let's shift gears then to this NBA gambling scandal. This story feels like a matchup of organized crime, big-time sports, and some serious tech.
It really does, and it shows maybe the darker side of that high-tech friction we talked about earlier.
What's scale here?
It's big. More than 30 people arrested, including NBA stars and alleged mafia members.
Wow. Mafia involvement.
That's what the probe suggests. And this wasn't just some corner bookie, you know. Investigators describe this years-long web of corruption, betting schemes, poker rigging, worth tens of millions of dollars.
Tens of millions. And the methods. That's what really jumped out at me. Is this like a new playbook for organized crime? Less muscle, more tech?
It really looks that way. Authorities called the fraud mind-boggling. They talked about using X-ray tables, hidden cameras.
X-ray tables. To cheat at poker.
Apparently. That's a serious investment in technology, specifically for criminal purposes. They're innovating how to cheat, basically.
And there are actual sports figures involved too, right? Not just bettors.
Yeah, former NBA player and coach Damon Jones. He's accused of selling private team information directly to bettors.
Okay, so the corruption potentially goes right into the game's integrity.
Deep into it. But it's important to note, the probe also made a point of clarifying something.
What's that?
Prosecutors said the evidence seems to undercut claims made against LeBron James. So, clearing his name in this specific context.
Right, important distinction when you're talking about high-profile names and corruption.
Absolutely vital.
But the timing here is just, it's pretty jarring, isn't it? This huge, high-tech, illegal gambling bust happening right before the NCAA makes a massive change.
You mean allowing college athletes to bet?
Yeah. Starting November 1st, they can bet on pro sports.
The irony is kind of unavoidable, isn't it? The NCAA is opening the door wider to the exact same ecosystem that organized crime just showed it can infiltrate with sophisticated multi-million-dollar fraud.
So the policy is shifting just as the risks are being laid bare.
Could be sharper. It raises enormous questions about how college sports are going to regulate and monitor this going forward. Massive challenge.
Okay, moving into our last section here, the economy. And the sources show this weird mix, these contradictions, immediate pain from layoffs, but also this looming kind of abstract threat of automation.
Yeah, it's like two different speeds of disruption happening at once. You look at Target.
Right, the job cuts.
Announcing plans to eliminate 1,800 corporate jobs. That's real pain right now. But then you see this other report suggesting, longer term, robots could replace 600,000 jobs just at Amazon alone.
600,000. Wow.
So if you're in the workforce, you're dealing with maybe immediate cuts and this huge technological shift potentially coming for your job down the line. It's a lot to manage.
That's immense pressure. Did the sources have any Brighter spots on the economic front? Anything for consumers?
Actually, yes. One pretty significant piece of good news for the housing market.
Okay.
The average rate on a long-term U.S. mortgage dropped down to 6.19%.
That's the lowest in a while, isn't it?
Lowest in over a year. So that's a key sign. Maybe inflation is cooling a bit, could offer some relief for home buyers,
Huh.
even while the political world stays messy.
A little bit of breathing room, maybe?
Maybe. But the tech hiccups continue elsewhere. Look at Tesla.
Ah, the Cybertruck recall.
Yeah, we're calling over 63,000 of them.
Yeah.
Because the front lights are just too bright.
Seriously, too bright.
Yep. It's almost a perfect little example, isn't it?
Yes.
Super futuristic vehicle design, tripped up by a basic, practical problem like light intensity.
Technology kind of outrunning common sense or maybe regulation?
Exactly. Technology outpacing the rules again.
Okay, and finally, wrap us up with the health notes. Some concerning stats and personal stories here, too.
Yeah, on the statistical side, a sobering one. Hard to spot breast cancer. Now makes up more than 1 in 10 cases in the U.S.
1 in 10, that's significant.
It is, and that's set against these really difficult personal situations, like the man in North Carolina.
The one with the insurance dispute.
Yeah. He needs a cancer drug. It's potentially blocking him from getting a needed liver transplant, all because of a health insurance fight.
That just feels like the shutdown story, but on a personal health level. Life-saving care tangled up in bureaucracy.
It perfectly mirrors that institutional rigidity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When the system itself becomes the obstacle.
Even high-profile people aren't immune to health scares. Kim Kardashian.
Revealed she was diagnosed with an aneurysm.
Yeah.
It just underscores that basic human fragility bumping up against these rigid, complex systems we rely on.
So, okay, let's try to pull this all together for you.
There.
We started with these symbols of progress, right? Statues.
Right? Historical acknowledgement.
And then we just dove headfirst into this chaos. A government totally frozen, the actual White House being partly demolished.
Big tech mafia cheating schemes.
Economic whiplash between layoffs now and robots later. It's a lot.
The synthesis, I think, is pretty clear. We're in this moment of, extreme acceleration, hitting head-on against deep, entrenched paralysis.
Acceleration versus paralysis.
Yeah, you see big paradigms shifting fast, like the NCAA letting athletes bet or mortgage rates finally dropping. Real change happening.
Right.
But it's all being handicapped by this institutional rigidity.
Right.
The shutdown is the prime example, but also the legal fights in D.C., the insurance bureaucracy. It all slows things down, adds friction.
So maybe a final thought for you to chew on, building on all this.
Yeah.
We talked about that report. Robots may be replacing 600,000 jobs at just one company, Amazon.
Yeah, that massive number.
And we saw the tech failures, the Cybertruck lights, the airline IT crash. Technology is advancing incredibly fast. AI, automation, self-driving cars, all of it.
It's accelerating like crazy.
So how are these super fast, maybe brittle technological changes going to crash into the political paralysis we just talked about? The shutdown gridlock, the bureaucratic health insurance nightmares?
That's the question.
Which disruption hits us harder, or maybe hits us first? The political kind, or the technological kind? Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for letting us walk through this source stack with you.
We appreciate you joining us. We'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.